Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. No season, cease no hitter, waiting for trades. A lot of the good teams are really struggling. Baseball's hot. Let's talk about it.
Don't cease. You're out.
CJ Abrams. Good wood. Trust the process. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Presented to you by SeatGeek. That is Trevor Plouffe out in Detroit. Basketball. Me and Beebs coming from New York City where the Mecca is. But nobody cares about basketball for like 8 months. Because it's trade deadline week. It's treadline season. Purgatory. Baseball palooza. Whatever you call it. And Trevor Plouffe is celebrating out where... I don't know. His Minnesota Twins, will they be adding your friend, our friend, Jack Flaherty's an interesting piece. The surging Tigers, does it get any hotter, Trev?
Yeah, the Rangers, I think, are hotter. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Or the Mariners are colder. I don't know. You know, they both kind of go hand in hand there. I am excited to be back in Detroit. I'm at one of my favorite hotels in all of the big leagues. I was talking to you guys about it before the show. And yes, I'll get to see my boy Jay Flair, unless he gets traded tonight, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen because nothing's happened at all.
Right.
But I'm excited to yuck some ball with you, fresh off the flight, straight to the hotel room, straight to my setup. I haven't even eaten dinner yet, but I'm ready. Jake, I'm ready.
You've never been the same, Trev. This episode's going to have it all. I've got one of a historically good baseball player has a gripe with me. We'll circle back at that at the episode. We've got other baseball players making history. We've got the deadline. We've got, God, no hitters. Dude, I know you're going to tell the people about the standings because, God, you're good at it. You know, Jolly tried his best, but he just couldn't really handle it. Baltimore Orioles, struggling. Yankees, struggling. Red Sox, struggling. Guard Dogs, struggling. Twinkies, struggling.
Nah. They just beat the best team in baseball in a series.
Mariners,
without, like, any of their players.
Struggling. Phillies, struggling. Braves are in the bad place. Who else? I think there was one more. So, I don't know. Pretty wild. We've already talked about the chaos of this deadline a little bit. Let's yuck some ball in some of the topics, and it's all brought to you by Big League Chew, man. I mean, if that doesn't hit your heartstrings, the Little League field, having the one kid who puts in way too much Big League Chew, Trevor. The We Got Ice fellas have partnered with Big League Chew to send one lucky winner to the Little League World Series, plus a whole lot more. All you have to do is go to johnboymedia.com/BLC. Purchase any Big League Chew pack of gum, and you'll automatically be entered to win a chance at the grand prize, featuring a trip to Williamsport for the Little League World Series, a Big League Chew prize pack, and some signed We Got Ice merch. Hello. Big timers, man. For full terms and conditions, my strength, go check out the site or just go snag some Big League Chew. There's a link in the description. Enter today, johnboymedia.com/BLC.
Spoiler alert, I never know what ads you're going to read.
Yeah.
So I didn't know we had a Big League Chew sponsorship. Thank you guys. Teddy just had his 9th birthday party, and I was in charge of the goodie bags. You know they had Big League Chew in them. You know it, Pop.
It's so funny because they kind of have no idea that it's like sort of resembling chew.
No.
But they're just...
They meaning the kids.
It's just gumming up.
They love it. By the way, I mean, you get all the great flavors too. The original, they have the watermelon, the strawberry.
You know, I'm not around a lot of Little League fields, which is a good thing at this point in life. But if you want a group of Little League kids to lock in, dangle the chew in front of them. It's Thursday, which means we'll start with the Interleague.
Yes.
A fan base that was a little disappointed in us, but mostly their team. The Atlanta Braves, man. We've just been doing they're the Braves. Things are good. Your Cincinnati Reds gave them to business. Go check out Hunter Green's stats on the year. They're starting to get to a special place. 7-inning shut piece. Reynaldo Lopez gives up his season-high 4 earned runs. But the Reds get it done in that game. Jamer, Will Benson, and Ellie De La Cruz, who he has some errors the next day, but he also has a home run in his 49th stolen base on the season. As they get it done 9-4, a little 2-game sweeperoo because we got rained out. Reds, a little bounce back. Braves, a little yellow flag up in the ATL. Luda, Brewers take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. And that's obvious. And 2 of them were 1-run games that the Cubs probably feel like they should have won. And that's obvious. Maybe the bigger news out of this series, Bryce Terang with the winner in that second game. Tyone shoved for a while, and then he gets got. Christian Yelich, our guy. If you got Brewers stock, some weird stuff going on with his back. They're trying to just rest it. That's kind of scary. Cubbies getting pushed further and further into the sell zone. Boston Red Sox. Me and Jolly were taking pats on the back for this one. Hey, you got swept by the Dodgers. You could have won 2 of those games. Kind of the last place you want to end up is Coors, because you lose a 12-inning game the next night, 9-8. Zeke Tovar with the walk-off in that one. They bounce back with a 5-run first, and they win that game 6-0. Okay, Cooper Criswell, 7 shut piece. But then the Rockies win the getaway day 20-7. Alex Cora extension day. That's big news in the Commonwealth. Cal Quantrill reminds Red Sox catcher about a former thing he did once. You might have seen that clip. Rockies playing a better brand of baseball. No comment by me. Dodgers, they've taken 2 out of 3 from the San Francisco Giants. I think they're playing right now. Clayton Kershaw back on the bump. Robbie Ray back on the bump yesterday with 5 innings, no-hit ball. I mentioned that. Matt Chapman homer, Yaz a couple RBI, because it's Dodgers the rest of the way. River Ryan's debut, your guy, 5.1, 0 earned runs. Teoscar Hernandez with all 3 RBI to get the win over Snell and the Giants in that one. And then Landon Knack. Okay, Dodgers AI pitcher generator killing it this series. They could be on your team for your best players this deadline. St. Louis Cardinals, they dropped 2 out of 3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Don't look now. The Rats are hot. The only game they lose is because bust Paul Skeens can't get it done against MLB veteran Lance Lynn, who, just out of a comedy show, Lance Lynn threw all of his hardest pitches of the season in this game. Just like, okay, Paul, let me show you mass equals gas, Pop. Outside of that, it's Pirates baseball. Mitch Keller with a great start. Rowdy Tellez with the homer and 2 RBI game. Pirates, 8-2 in their last 10. Nick at night, Nick Gonzalez getting it done for them. The Orioles struggle with the Florida Fish, man. Miami takes the first 2 games. Jazz Chisholm highlights. You think he knows it's the trade deadline? Seems like it. Go catch out at his catch in center field. Also 2 for 4, 2 steals in that first game. Marlins rally today, but the Orioles salvage it, get it done in 10 innings. And then San Diego, they sweep the Nationals. Good on you, San Diego. You know I've been struggling. And not only that, but they do it in grand fashion. They roll them 12 runs in that second game. They shut him out with Randy Vasquez in the first. And then today, Dylan Cease. You know him from throwing the Frisbee. He's throwing the pill amazing. No hitter in the books. And that's what happened in the Interleague.
Just incredible stuff, Poppy. Incredible stuff right there. Do you want the standings by chance?
I need it. I need it hard.
Well, here's the thing, guys. There's some games that aren't finished. I'm going to do the best that I can, if that's all right with everybody. And because it is Thursday evening in East Coast time, I'm going to start out east. Uh, that's where I am. I'm gonna start in the AL East. The Baltimore Orioles 61-41. As you mentioned, struggling 4-6 in their last 10. The Yankees 60-44, 2 games back. Then it's the Red Sox at 54-47. Tampa Bay Rays sitting right there at 500, and the Toronto Blue Jays 46-55. Pop, I'm gonna head out west where the Houston Astros have taken advantage of the Seattle Mariners losing streak. Who lost 3 in a row now after getting swept 53-49. They're 1 game above the Mariners. They're sitting at 53-51. And then here come the Rangers 51-52, could be 500 by the time we're done recording this. I believe they're winning right now as I'm reading the standings. The Angels 7-3 their last 10, but they're 45-57, and the Oakland Athletics 41-63. And then in my AL Central, the best division in all of baseball, the Guardians kind of struggling, but still staying afloat. They're 4-6 in the last 10, but they're 20 games over 500, 61-41. My Twins, 4.5 games behind them at 56-45. The Royals, 56-47. The Tigers surging a little bit, 51-53. And then the White Sox, my, oh my, they've lost 11 games in a row, Jacob, 27-78. We'll head over to the wild card. Baltimore atop the division, Cleveland atop the division, Houston atop the division. Then it's the Yankees at 60-44, the first wild card spot. My Twins holding on to the second wild card spot, and then the Royals with a 1-game lead over the Red Sox for the third wild card spot. The Seattle Mariners currently out of the playoffs, 3.5 games back. The Rays 4.5 games back, and the Rangers 5 games back of the wild card. Pop, those are the standings in the American League.
Thanks for doing the American League after we just did the NL.
Did we really?
Padres sweep. Dylan Cease no hitter. No, it's fantastic. We'll get to the rest.
It's Thursday, people.
It's Thursday. It's Thursday.
That is hilarious. Holy shnikey.
Hey, I know, Trev, you were traveling. I caught the butt end of this, and we have Padres superfan Ryan Cohen in our office, so that was an electric watch with him. Dylan Cease no hitter. I hate to be baseball. Well, okay, there are some. With every no hitter, there's a fun fact. This is following Joe Musgrove's no hitter after San Diego went years without one, or didn't have one. Were they?
That Musgrove.
I believe this is the second one in team's history.
First, yeah. So that's pretty crazy. Luis Ariz had broken up Cease's no-hitter, 8 2/3 inning. He gets the last out there, or he didn't get the last out. But there's some storylines there. And then I mean, this is where my baseball loserdom kicks in, because we've done this before, and no-hitters have been devalued just a little bit. We're getting I don't know, they're happening. Like, hitting has been devalued, although so has length in games. So, like, whatever. 3 walks in this one. For me, the story is Dylan Cease. I mean, he's essentially entered the Cy Young conversation. His last 3 starts have been special, and maybe it's more so like his 2 starts before this one. Atlanta, who we're going to talk about, 6 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned runs. Cleveland, 7 innings, 1 hit, double-digit Ks in each of those games. So Dylan Cease feels like he is full tilt as he's heading towards the second half of this season. In San Diego, like I always do this dance with them, and I talked last time rosters on paper, and I know that's not how it works. But if this roster on paper starts happening more and more, like, dude, all the San Diego hype is gone. They were the sexy team for 2 years, and maybe that comes back. And mostly, congrats to Dylan Cease.
First of all, I apologize for reading the AL standings. The Padres are in a wild card spot as we speak, and a large part of it is due to Dylan Cease. The number's down to a 3.5 on the year. The WHIP down under a 1 after the no hitter today. Look, it's such a long season. I talked about this with Chris Rose, and it was a Yelich quote, and it's, people have said it before. It takes a long time to have a bad season. It takes a long time to have a good season. A lot of shit happens in between, right? Beginning of the season, the end of the
Yeah.
season, there's ups and downs. You hate that about the San Diego Padres. Every time you jump on the bandwagon, they go on a little bit of a losing streak. Every time they go on a losing streak and we get down on them, they go on a winning streak. But they are a good team. They do have good players on that team. And a performance like this and a sweep, getting them back into the playoff race is great. I think it adds a little bit of added pressure. Not that Preller needs any pressure to go out and add at the deadline, but it adds a little bit of oomph to that, right? To go get somebody. And yeah, just Cease's, like you mentioned, man, he's been incredible. The fact that they went out and got him and he's been kind of everything they've wanted and maybe even a little bit more is I'm happy for the Padres, man. Like I think they play really fun baseball when they're in the race and they're winning games. It's baseball's better for it.
Yeah, and for me, they get back to that vaunted 5 games above 500 mark. That's been my hot water line for them. I don't know. And yeah, hey, these Nationals just swept the Reds, which I thought buried them for the season, which maybe it's just that dramatic time of year. But yeah, San Diego as of today is in the playoffs, as Trevor will tell you in the AL standings coming up. And yeah, I mean, Nationals, I guess if their fans were having any last licks of like, let's win 9 in a row to change our deadline, I think that's out now, and I think that's a good thing. Hey, Juan Yepes hitting it all over the field, except today, I guess. He had a hit streak going, so I guess that ended. Sorry, Juan, but we love you hitting. Dude, Profar hits another big home run. Kyle Higashioka has an OPS in the 8s. Like, dude, they've got the guys. Bogarts is starting to heat up. Tatis ain't back yet. Like, things are happening in San Diego.
Yes, you mentioned I think 6 games is the most they've been over 500 on the year. It happened earlier in July, so we'll see if they can get there and keep on going, Pop. Because as you mentioned, they got a bunch of guys up and down the lineup contributing, and I always talk about that in this show. Like that's what you need. The guys at the bottom of the order lengthen the lineup, and they're doing it right now.
And this is where there was a time when we thought the NL wildcard was going to be a bust this year. Things are getting juicy, and let's start juicy in a bad way, although San Diego's a part of it. The Reds beat the Braves. Okay, it's 2 games, whatever. For Cincinnati, I think those fans I think they're hoping they don't hard sell, and they don't have a ton of they got a couple bullpen guys, Montas if you really wanted to. Either way, they're going to roll out their young core, and if things start to click, okay. If not, see you next year. Dude, I guess I didn't fully appreciate. We know the talent on the Braves. Things are getting bad there. The Mets are sneaking up on them, and some of their stats are getting scary that, I don't know, I think we giggle about the Braves and like, okay, the top of their rotation's great. The meat of their lineup's fine. Like, it's the Braves, right? The story's changing quick, Trev.
I mean, they're 1.5 games up in the wild card. I wish I would have read the National League standings. That's on me, guys. I'll own up to that one. They could be in one series out of the playoff picture. And it has been, a mix of everything for them. They've obviously dealt with a ton of injuries. Even Max Fried coming out and leaving, I believe, this week. But even when they've had the guys like on the field, they haven't really performed to like what they're capable of performing. So it's been a bad year all around. You can't just blame it solely on injuries. Obviously, that's a part of it. But we've talked about Austin Ryan, we talked about Matt Olson, guys that can carry the torch and have for many, many years, just really haven't gotten it done. So it is getting scary for Braves fans. And I'm one of those people. It's almost like the Astros to me. You just start to expect good things to happen to them and for them to figure it out. But really, I mean, they're that great position they were in. I believe, they were up 8 games in the wild card at one point, and now it's dwindling away right in front of us. And what are they going to do? I mean, this is, we're going to mention that so many times today. Like what's this team in the deadline? Like they need some help. Like, are they, in my mind, there's no way that Alex Anthopoulos is going to let this season slide away and say, you know what, maybe this isn't our year. It just hasn't been how he's operated. But things look a little bit different this year, man. They do.
Well, yeah, and you wonder. I always laugh in any line of business. People lean into their experience in the front office level. You know, the Braves, they added a lot of smaller pieces, and it clicked, and they won the World Series. That you'd have to think that's how they're approaching this deadline, because they also have I don't want to say a lot of holes, but they have some needs right now. Like the Braves pitching and lineup has a lot of places where you can add or subtract. Like right now, Nacho Alvarez is getting some run at second base. Eddie Rosario and Adam Duvall are in the middle of that lineup. And then right now their fourth starter is Schwellenbach, who's actually been solid for them, so no shots fired at SS. The SS Wellenbach, I like that. But, you know, they've been talking about getting a fifth starter. A lot of Braves fans were like, Paxton would be perfect. I think a lot of teams are saying that. Yes. Yeah, no, it's, I think we've been so panicky about the Yankees ship because we are a part of it. The Braves, man, if I was a Braves fan, we would have been hitting that more. So Braves fans, I'm kind of sorry, but also like not that, you know who they play this weekend, Trevor Plouffe?
Who do they play?
The New York Mets.
Hottest team in baseball. I mean, look, I just said, hey, the injuries, you know, that's not the only thing. But when you're talking about like four of your starters out, just in your lineup in general, that's tough to overcome for any team. You know, talking about Ronald, you talked about Michael Harris a second, now Ozzie Albies with the wrist thing, and then to deal with the injuries they've had to the pitching, like they had this complete roster. And I'm curious, like, what does that feel like as GM when you're like, hey, we actually put together a good team. We know this is a good team. We've had much success in the past. And then all of a sudden those players are essentially taken away from you. It's like, well, at what point do you say, maybe this isn't our year? How much do we need? How much are we going to trade away to try to salvage this year when we know a lot of this is due to injury? I think those are the decisions that guys have to make. And I mean, do you see them going out and trying to make a big splash this year? And is there even a real big splash to be had besides Crochet and Luis Robert?
Well, I think that's the funny thing. I was just about to say, you know, I think they follow up. They add a couple small pieces. They need their core to be really good for the Braves to be really good. Like the pillars are still there. Also, wouldn't be shocked. Like the news about Crochet today was he says he doesn't want to be traded unless he's allowed to start. I'm not doing the bullpen. And he wants an extension, which for
what? I love that, but you can't say that.
Right. Also doesn't bode well for our White Sox trade market that seems to be holding up the trade market. But if there was a team that can get a trade done that also gets an extension done,
then they'll put them on the they won't make any money. Like I don't understand how that's happening at all.
Oh, we half lost you, Trev. It's a nice freeze for you.
I see that. Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now. You're a little like robo.
I apologize, people. I'm working with what I got here.
Every day for me. Reds keep chugging. Brewers Cubs. I don't know what there is to say from this series. Not in a rude way, but I mean, if you asked me to script this series up beforehand, I would have said Brewers take 2 out of 3 and probably 1-run games, and that's what ends up happening. Brewers don't even play their best brand of baseball. There's some sloppy defense in this series. Ian Happ had a quote after they win the first game that, you know, we need to convince Hoyer to make his job tough. They go out and lose 2 1-run games the next couple days. Obviously not on our guy Happer, but it's just kind of been the story of the Cubby season. I think the bigger news from this, we're going to wait to see what the Cubbies sell. And I think it's, dude, the Yelich stuff. Have you hit up your guy yet, or is this too soon?
I haven't hit him up. Obviously, I've known he's been dealing with the back situation for a while. He's been able to like keep it at bay for the most part. I think he did go out earlier in the year with a little bit of back stuff. Um, Shout out Brewers, by the way, 8-5 against the Cubs this year. I think that needs to be talked about. Like,
Council,
it's supposed to be flipped, right?
Pat Murphy.
Pat Murphy, all that stuff. So I'm hoping that maybe Yelly can go get a PRP injection and rest it and come back this year. But it seems a little bit more dire than that. Some of the quotes, aren't exactly super optimistic from him. But to answer your question, I have not reached out to him yet. But I am really, really hoping that he can come back and contribute because the Brewers team has been so fun. Obviously, he's been such a big part of it. But like, does it like also in the back of my mind, these are dark thoughts here.
Right. Are you going Corbin Burns theory right now?
Yeah, like
Yeah, you
are
are.
they gonna fucking rally around this and just win
Right.
more games now? Is
Mhm.
Joey Weimer gonna come up and be an MVP caliber player? Like, doesn't that seem like that's what happens with the Brewers? They need to go get an. Hey, guess what? James Paxton will look great in the Brewers uniform too.
Mm.
Eventually Devin Williams is gonna be back, and then I don't know, man. Every time we seem like we try to kill the Brewers or say they're not going to win games, they win a bunch of games.
Yeah, I think they're 4-1 in their last 5. They've taken down. It was like a road trip. They stretched out their gap between them and the Cardinals, who, as of today, are out of the playoffs, as you'll find out in the AL.
That's so bad.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, Trev. I think being fair to Red Sox, I don't think they want to hear about the Rockies series. Congrats on the Cora extension. Second half Rocks are here to stay. You don't want to face that. Ryan McMahon, not tradable.
I think they're like the epitome of like, hey, any team. Okay, take that back. We always say these are all big leaguers, right? So you can't go in and expect to win a series, I guess, unless you're playing the White Sox. You can kind of expect that. But the Rockies do have some fun pieces, Jake. They do. Brenton Doyle seems like he hits a garbage time home run like all the time. Like loves the garbage time grand slam. Go for it. Jacob Stalling, same way. They have players there, man. Like we love Zeke Tovar. We love that guy. Your boy Ryan McMahon hits a homer in the series. Is he coming to the Yanks?
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think they're doing anything.
Rockies fans, you'll see him run out his contract.
But also, I don't know if we talked about this before. We're still talking Rocks here, just so you know. When you got a guy that can have success in Colorado, don't you gotta like try to keep him around in Colorado?
No,
you don't do that either.
They don't run a baseball team. They run a business that happens to have baseball games.
That's what everyone says. They sell out games, so what does it matter?
Ownership sees a nice P&L.
I mean, Cal Quantrill, like...
What did he tell Reese McGuire there? What was that?
I think he told him, earmuffs, to go jerk off in the parking lot. Why would he say that?
Not to put you on the spot. You ever do that?
You ever see a nice Dollar Tree?
I have not, but I was talking about Chris Rose this morning. I said, maybe he could invest in some window tint or something. I don't know.
You think there's a business to come out of this? I didn't like any of the words that got said.
Chris goes, he's got roommates. I'm like, everybody's got roommates.
Roommates. 20-year-old boy roommates? That's the only hobby in the house. Anyways.
Didn't it seem like he just had that one ready, though?
Yeah, right? Like, he came into the game. There's something there. You're right. You don't just let that rip off the fly.
No.
Red Sox, I think we're going to be talking about you a lot after this weekend with a big Yankee series. Congrats on the Cora extension. I'd get jealous of Cora sometimes. Like, he feels like a man. Like, he feels like he owns that clubhouse. Like,
he does.
I know.
He does. There's a couple guys who just feel like they are where they're supposed to be, and he's one of them. And he got paid $7 million a year.
Take that, Council.
Okay.
Yeah, managers starting to get paid again.
Okay.
Need Cora to be good, but that hurts my
Don't you
soul.
tell Rocco to beat it?
Whoa, you coming for that job? Is that what's happening?
You and Reese McGuire, get out of here and beat it.
No, that's
That was
the
tough.
low-hanging fruit. Trev, I'm gonna kick these two to you. We are cooking right now. Wrapping up the American League, National League. Giants and Dodgers are playing. Like I said, San Francisco, I would love to be in their front office right now because Snell is pitching well for them. Robbie Ray is back. They spent a lot of coin this offseason. I'd love to hear. You might hear about Tyler Fitzgerald later. Meanwhile, on the other side, Dodgers, like I mentioned, their AI pitchers, River Ryan. Welcome to the show.
River Ryan and Landon Knack.
Like
We're
what?
good. We're going to designate James Paxton for assignment. We got these guys.
Hey,
We're
James
good.
Paxton, you've had, a great MLB career, but these kids are freaks, and Kershaw's coming back too, and we're about to trade for someone.
Let's go. I can look up Kershaw's line right now. They're winning 3-2 in the fifth, so I'm assuming he's pitched all of those innings.
You want live as we record this? Kershaw, 4 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 72 pitches. Joe Kelly followed him, obviously.
Okay.
Joe Kelly obviously also gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, and then struck out the other 3 hitters.
There you go.
Every Joe Kelly outing. Yeah, I don't know.
Do we talk Pirates Cardinals here?
So this is where we have to wrap up.
Or is this the AL? Is this the AL?
Because this is important, man. Because the Pittsburgh Pirates that tick, 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 tick. Their front office came out. A front office that hasn't been involved for a while. 8-2 in their last 10. I mean, the hottest team in baseball. They're a game and a half out of the playoff picture currently, and I know we've said this before, so I guess the convo there hasn't changed. I'd love to talk more about. I could talk about Lance Lynn and Paul Skeens teeing it up for about an hour and a half as well. But no, more importantly, there's gonna be losers of this deadline, which maybe that should be our media spin zone. Pirates, you gotta do something.
Got to do something. And you got to be willing to give up. That's the thing. You can try to make all the moves you want, but if you're not offering what people want, you're not going to get anything. That's economics, I believe.
Oh.
Or capitalism, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But the Pirates, what I love about where the Pirates are at, obviously they've been playing really good baseball as of late. Split a series with the Mets, won a series against Milwaukee, swept the White Sox, won a series against Philly, now won a series against St. Louis. And then they play the Padres and Arizona.
Right.
12 out of the next 15 games, something like that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So the team's right in front of them. They literally, Jake, control their own destiny.
Ooh.
They have to go do this. Rowdy's hot right now, by the way. So talk about adding a bat. Rowdy's hot.
Brent Rooker.
They need to go do something.
Give me Brent Rooker.
They need to go do something. They owe it to the Pittsburgh fans to go out and at least attempt to get an offensive weapon. Mitch Keller's just sitting there. No one talks about Mitch Keller. I believe he went 7 innings pitched, 1 or shutout innings, whatever it was. They have the pieces to do it. They need to go add a bat and give themselves a chance during at least this next, because this next 20-game stretch is kind of almost like a season.
You can't necessarily win the season, but you could sure lose the season.
Yes. Because if you put that distance, in between yourself and a playoff spot, and you have, 3 or 4 teams in front of you, it's hard to jump them all. But when you're playing those teams that are right in front of you, you have the ability to do that. So, man. Buckle up. Get it, Bucko?
Oh. Verbal meme. I don't know if it works, but the guy who's sad alone in the corner of the party. The St. Louis Cardinals are now, as of today, a half game out of the wild card. And my line for a month now has been the Cardinals have been just in the dance, which is good for them. The 2 teams above them now, the Mets, the hottest team baseball's ever seen. The Padres, one of our favorite rosters we've seen. Behind them, the Snakes, who have been cooking. Behind them is the Pirates, who are becoming America's darlings. That the Cardinals are kind of at the party by the... You don't hear a lot of the pundits being like, you know who me likey? It's them Cards.
I really wish I would have read the National League standings. It's really getting me right now.
Well,
I do know what meme you're talking about, though. Isn't it the
you're
meme where like
hip.
someone's like, they don't know that I'm doing
Yeah,
this?
you're hip.
Yeah, I'm hip. I
Trev,
feel like Foolish Bailey posts that all the time or something.
that used to be a signature of his. A signature of mine, as we get to the ALNL recap, is T-Mobile, the exclusive 5G innovation partner of MLB. T-Mobile and baseball go together like peas and carrots. We saw them all over the All-Star game, and they hooked us up. We were at the Derby, and T-Mobile, that's what they do. They take things to the next level. Get into the stadium faster with frictionless entry. Me and Trev, normally there's a lot of friction. They're trying to get rid of that, powered by T-Mobile's 5G network. And even though All-Star Week is over, you don't have to miss up. T-Mobile hooks up their customers with Magenta status, which gives exclusive benefits like ticket discounts and other perks all season long just for being a customer. Swing into the future with T-Mobile, the exclusive 5G partner of Major League Baseball, and elevate your game day experience. To learn more, visit T-Mobile.com/baseball. You know there's a link in the description. Let me get this out of the way quick. Did Talkin' Yanks with Joe's McFly last night. I just said the baseball. That's from A-Rod. I think fans of this show know that we have a balance with A-Rod. There's a certain level of entertainment that's fun. There's a certain level of entertainment that, like, what the hell is going on? You're one of you're an all-time businessman. You're an all-time baseball player. There's a lot of other stuff mixed in between. A-Rod, whenever there's a time to give someone love, which I'll circle back on that statement, he congratulated Alex Cora on getting the Red Sox extension. And on Talking Yanks, me and Joe's just started laughing because I was like, you know, he did, when Albert Pujols passed him, he did a hilarious video. It's him smoking a cigar. And he's like, my main man, Albert Pujols. And I was like, you know, how close are you and Albert? I don't know. Said that on the episode. Rod hits up Joe's McFly this morning. And he's like, hey, what's going on with your guy? He's kind of player hating on me. And the fact he dropped player hating just like stabbed my soul because I was player hating. And there's a couple other, I do, you know, we'll keep it semi-private. But A-Rod kind of won that battle. So I'm looking to get back in A-Rod's good graces.
Okay. I was waiting for this. You told me that there was friction between you guys, and I didn't ask because I wanted to hear it on the show. So he was listening to the show and heard you talk about him and Cora's relationship, or at least somebody brought it to his attention.
His phone was blowing up.
He said his phone was blowing up.
Phone was
There's
blowing
a lot of people
up.
in the stream.
Jake is saying that he doesn't have a relationship with Alex Cora.
And he kind of dunked on me. He's like, I was teammates with Joey, 93 to 96. You know, I've known Alex going. So I was player hating. Like, there's no lie.
You were
There's
being
no
a hater.
lie. So A-Rod, I'm sorry. I was player hating. And if there's one thing, I don't respect a lot of things. I don't want to be a player hater, you know?
Hell, me neither. Somebody said I was play hating on Paul Skeens on an Instagram post, and I was like, did you listen to what I said? Because I was not play hating.
Let's do some IL.
Never our goal.
Let's do some IL
Never
quick.
our goal.
And actually, ironically, this was part of the IL segment. The Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Kansas City Royals. And God, Bobby Witt Jr. Here's 3 hits. Let's play a game. Here's 3 hits. They win 10-4. They take down your guy, Yilber Diaz. But they couldn't.
Yep.
The Snakes couldn't get to Carl Reigans. I started there because it's a snake pit the rest of the way, including in that final game, a 5-run ninth, I believe. Gabby Moreno with the 2-run double. Ketel Marte, 3-run homer. Snakes, they take the final 2 games. Jordan Montgomery is back for them. A good brand of baseball out there in Kansas City. That got heated. The boys were hot that first game. Love that. Tigers and Guardians split 4 games. Boring. Outside of Jack Flaherty, our guy who might have had his last start before he gets traded to your favorite team. 6 innings, 0 earned runs. Scooble also gave up some hits, but he pitched well. Guardians won the middle games there. You know John Kesney Noel hit a homer, and J-Ram. Tanner Bybee saw his post-game fit. I don't know if it's Talking Baseball approved. I'm a player hater. I just realized it. I'm a fucking player hater.
Now I need to see it.
Matt Vierling, hot. Rangers. People, it's time to start talking about the Texas Rangers. We blew the deadline episode. They are giving the White Sox the business as they won the first 3 games, and I think they're about to win the 4th. Turns out Corey Seager has kind of been hitting all year in a way, but not. I don't know. If Adoli starts going, which he has 3 hits in that 3rd game. John Gray, 7.21. It feels like something's happening in Texas forever, my friend. We'll talk about it. The Minnesota Twins, speaking about something happening. Oh, the Phillies are so good. World Series or bust. Take this. River Ryan, not involved in this series. Twins, take 2 out of 3. Zach wheels up, shut them out in that 2nd game. But the nightmare of Bailey Ober. How about Max Kepler with a couple 2-hit RBI games in the bread games? Trev's going to tell you about it because he's your Twins update guy. Here's what I'll tell you about. The Los Angeles Angels sweep the Seattle Mariners. Oh, baby, what is you doing? You know, I get emotional about this, so I'm just going to give the Angels love. Taylor Ward, where's he playing in a week? Jose Soriano, I think that guy is good. A couple times I've watched him pitch. He's a problem. Luis Rengifo, where's he playing in a week? Brandon Drury, where's he playing in a week? Ron Washington, Coach of the Year? Joe Adele doing good things too, which I feel like we've talked about, but we haven't talked about. Seattle. Oh, God. Luckily, everyone's flunking the dunk. The Houston Astros lose 2 out of 3 to the Oakland A's. You're going to hear a little about them later because Hogan Hero Harris shuts them down while J.J. Bleday gets a couple hits. And Miguel Andujar, where's he going to be playing in a week? I'd love to know. Lawrence Butler's a stud. Brent Rooker, please be on a different team in a week. Astros, they salvaged the last game because Hunter Brown can't stop winning. Altuve with a bunch of hits. But Houston, they're on that top-line slip-up crew. The Rays and Jays are finishing 3 right now, and I'm going to tell you the Rays are probably going to take 2 out of 3 because they're up 12-0 right now. Vladdy, will he be donning a new uniform? Jays say no. That could be negotiating. Randy Arozarena has been hot lately. Justin Turner, new uni. Oh, and then, yeah, I think Yankees and Mets. That's right. They played. And that's what happened. That's what happened. The Mets, this is, Trev, you're not going to understand this quote because it's from BBD's favorite show. The Mets pulled down the Yankees' pants and jerked off their little dicks in front of everyone.
Until nothing came out.
Can we get the... Give me either standings at this point.
Oh, God.
I'm good with whatever.
There's just too much masturbation.
Yeah, it became a jerk off.
And it's not
we
for me.
try to shy away from that, but Cal Quantrill, this one's on you.
I think I have an idea of what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
I'm going to do the National League wild card really quick, just so everyone knows where it stands. And then I'm going to do the American League National League wild card, then American League wild card. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I decided, okay?
Sure.
That's what I'm going to do.
Do it.
In the National League, the wild card goes as such, okay? We have the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Brewers at the top of the division. The Braves clinging to the first spot. They're only 1.5 games up on the Mets and the Padres, who are tied for the 2nd and 3rd spots in the wild card. The Cardinals a half game out. Diamondbacks 1 game out. Pirates 1.5 game out. And then everyone else is kind of falling back. Now we go to the American League, which you just talked about. I obviously knew that you were reading the American League second. The division leaders there again: Baltimore, Cleveland, Houston, and then the Yankees have the first spot, although they've been struggling as of late, as we all know. Twins, Royals, and then the Boston Red Sox are within 1 game. Everybody else has fallen back 3.5 games or more, Jake. And those are the standings. I don't know. Those are the wild card standings. I messed it up today, people. Sometimes you don't play your best game, and you just got to keep rolling with the punches, okay?
It's that time of year. I mean, we're sneaking up on dog days.
The dog day. That's why everyone's so mad. There's been bench clearing incidents all over the league. It's because it's about to be August and people are tired.
Dude, everyone's pissy. I think the pitchers are feeling great coming out of the All-Star break. There's a lot of box scores that are like, if you take out this player, the rest of the team went 2 for 34. I feel like I've seen that in every other series. What matters in the AL? Guards, Tigers, I'm sorry, no. How about this? The Texas Rangers. I know this is a White Sox series, but Trev, in those standings that have been super clear for everyone, the Texas Rangers, they're 2.5 out.
They've been absolutely going off. It's been crazy. And I guess, has it absolutely coincided with Chris Young saying, you better go out there and win or else we're selling? Like, I think it kind of has.
Yes.
And they've just ran it since then. And you know what? The Mariners have played bad baseball. I get that. But the Rangers have gone absolutely nuclear, dude. And yes, I'm going to talk about Corey Seager in a little bit later in the show. But they have made up so much ground. It is ridiculous. They did win today. So they are 2.5 games back in the division. 2.5 games back. Last week, they were 8 games back. And here we are. It's awesome. It's crazy all at the same time. I'm actually a little mad because I was hoping, no offense to Rangers fans, that I was going to get Nathan Eovaldi on the Twins.
Right.
But that's not happening.
No.
Anything this team is going to go add. And I guess they finally drank some Pedialyte, got rid of the World Series hangover. That's what you have to do.
Ooh.
And here they are. Here they freaking are. And guess what? Nobody cares how they started. No one cares. Who gives a you-know-what about where they started? Because right now they're right in the thick of the race. And man,
hey,
it's
Ranger fans, tell me, as all you guys do, and ladies, you guys know your team better than we do. I think the biggest D move at this point by the Rangers is not doing anything and being like, no, we're good. Like, baseball's a weird sport, but Josh Young, I think, is on a timeline. Do we start hearing DeGrom rumors? Do we start hearing Tyler Mahle? Like, they have had the bodies in-house that, I mean, sure, any team can use anything, whether it's bullpen or one more bat or whatever, but like we said, and like we're going to say with a chunk of these teams, I guess there would be lines in the sand for, like, the Atlanta Braves. You know, I said it with them. They've got their horses that if they go, that team will play good baseball. The Texas Rangers, you can say that. For teams like Pittsburgh, maybe one or two other teams in the mix, if they really want to be involved or have us take them more seriously, would love to see them make a significant Luis Robert, Brent Rooker. Texas, if the deadline comes and goes and they don't do anything, that's the win.
Yeah, I mean, they have their guys, and they need White Langford to kind of go. He has a walk-off hit here, and he hasn't played to what he obviously thinks is his potential. If he starts to go, if Evan Carter comes back, he regains form. Then that's like, and I hate when teams use this term, but you know, the addition from within, like you're just getting guys playing to their potential. Like, this is a good team. Obviously, they won the World Series last year. They have a good roster. Bad start to the season. No big deal. So, yeah, if they were to stand pat at the deadline, you know, I'm assuming they go add some bullpen help. That didn't stop them from winning the World Series last year. So I could 100% see them just riding it out and saying, these are our guys. They got it done before. They're going to get it done again. And they might be right, Jake.
I think I accidentally missed this at the end, but the Mets and Yankees played too. Slipped little slip up on my end because the Yankees had Garrett Cole and Luis Heel going. You had the old bull, now you want the young calf. Did not matter because the Mets take Game 1 in a very Subway Series game. Some great moments. It looked like the Yanks were going to have a chance. Judge gets walked 4 times because they can, because nobody else is hitting.
It seems like a good strategy to me. I'm just
right.
saying.
Right. And then they go nuts in that final game. Lindor with 2 homers. I'm going to talk about him. Tyrone Taylor out of the 9-hole had a massive game. The Mets are very real in the playoffs. Close to the Braves. With a big weekend, they can jump the Braves while the Yankees are feeling how gnarly this long season could be. So whatever you have on those two.
Chris Rose posed a question to me this morning. Are the Mets the best constructed roster in New York? I really don't know how to answer that question because what I told him was this, and I say this about baseball. I referenced it earlier with the Yelich quote. Like the Yankees earlier in the season, everyone was talking about how deep they were, and everyone was writing the Mets off, including Chris Rose. Now all of a sudden we're talking about how deep the Mets roster is and how deep their lineup is and the length of it. And now we're talking about the Yankees and how they have 0 depth. So like these things can change rather quickly. Okay. But right now it sure seems like the Mets are a much better constructed roster, less holes, more people contributing up and down the lineup. I've always loved Mark Vientos. He's always been my guy. But yeah, it's 4-0 Subway Series sweep this year.
Mets have been
tough to swallow.
Jakey Analytics checking in. Mets have been averaging the most runs in baseball for about a month and a half.
They've been hitting.
Every position, they got hitting options. They're scary.
I have to bring this up, and I think I'm now going to be player hating. So a lot of stuff that maybe not our best step today. Player hating. The standings were bad. We talked about too much today.
We did.
Garrett Cole. Did he do the Edwin Diaz?
What?
I think Pete Alonso hit a homer.
Oh, yeah. That was a big topic on Talkin' Yanks. The Yankees used to have a kangaroo court that was treated as like religion. Mariano Rivera was the judge of their kangaroo court. If you did something like that, we want it back. I think we need it. I think a word a lot of Yankee fans are looking for is accountability. And for King Garrett, who was the last guy on that list, he's been one of the most accountable Yankees.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And when
I'm not doing it to hate Garrett on Garrett. I'm doing it more like any pitcher that does that.
We've just turned into lame media, bro. It happened.
You gotta laugh at him when
it happened.
Do it, dude.
We've turned into lame media. We're just hating on players all the time.
I've always hated starting pitching. You know that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Big love-hate relationship for me.
The last series that really gets my juices going is Snakes Kansas City. And the juices were flowing in game 1. Salvi Perez, your guy getting hot. Torey Lovello, my guy getting hot at the end of kind of a blowout game there. Bobby Witt has a chance for the cycle, gets hit by a pitch. Nobody likes that. And then, hey, man, I know I'm close to the situation with the Snakes. Jordan Montgomery comes back. They're winning a lot of series lately. Like that, the NL wild card went from sad to juicy.
I like the Snakes a lot. Going back to that, bench clearing incident, the way it was handled, I thought was actually really, really good. I don't think there was any intent by the Snakes hitting Bobby Witt there. But if you're on the Royals, you're probably gonna be a little fired up about that. The crowd's juiced up. You're Sal's on deck trying to protect his guy, and then they go out and hit somebody, get all warned, all that. And I like the way Lovello handled it. After the game, post-game press conference, he says he called Sal over because he wanted Sal to hear what he was telling Jordan Baker, the umpire. And he'd had like the best. He's another guy. He's like Alex Cora. Like he is He's a guy. He's a guy you want to play for. He said, if you think that I would hit the future of baseball on purpose, then you've lost control of the situation. And I thought it was great. You know, a little bit of tempers flaring, and that's just good old fashioned, heat of the moment type stuff. But I thought that he did a really good job, because then after that, you come out and say something like that, it's done. There's no more beef. You go out and play the series.
It's done because you talk about being a man. Like, how many managers, can go over there, pull an opposing player in closer? Like, that's close to a big no-no. But luckily it was Torrey and Salvi, who those two are pretty confident in who they are as men.
Yeah.
And then, it's just the situation and not being in the right in that moment, but we don't want to hit Bobby Witt Jr. Like, man, I think there's managers who a lot of managers would have handled that a lot of different ways. And I think that's where Torrey's incredible, and it feels even better when you come back and you win the next two.
Exactly. You come back and win the next 2 games, win the series. I mean, there's a chance there things get out of hand. You put your team in a weird position where guys are getting smoked, and it's a different feel in the series. But again, like you mentioned, just a guy that's managing the team, managing the clubhouse, managing the season the right way. Pretty cool.
We're going to get to standout performances in a second, and Trev's going to give you his 1 minute on the clock recap of anything else in the AL he wants to talk about. And both of those are brought to you by Talkin Baseball, which is this show, which is brought to you by Booking.com.
Yeah.
Heading up to Boston tomorrow, kid. Oh, my God. Looked at the hotel we're staying at. Yep.
Oh, really?
Hit some chords for me. Can't give anything else away because people will come. We've seen that at the last 3 All-Star games we've done.
We're
and
off the
scares
rails.
us a little bit. But with
We've
Booking.com, go get your perfect vacation stay spot, whether that's a hotel, a bed and breakfast, a good bed and breakfast. That's sneaky.
I've never stayed. You stayed at a bed and breakfast
Oh,
before?
yeah, bro. I think it's a big Northeast thing. I think bed and breakfast were the OG hotels that a lot of these mountain towns, little bed and breakfast. Hey, how are you? They greet you with a drink when you get in there.
So the owners of the bed and breakfast will also be staying in the house with you. You're just basically having a room at their house.
Yeah, I mean, there's different setups. There's different ways to skin the cat, but yeah, that's around the concept. And we're making omelets tomorrow. What do you want in it? Like there's just a nice touch to it. It's the connector between hotels and vacation rentals, I guess. Anyways, if you're looking to stay in any U.S. city, do it with Booking.com. Trev's in Detroit, Boston tomorrow. We were in Arlington last week. There's so many spots, and Booking.com has you covered everywhere. The official accommodations partner of Major League Baseball, on the site or the Booking.com app. Trev, 1 minute to hit anything else in the AL you want?
Good job on my Twins. Grindy series against the Phillies, okay? Which everyone's calling the best team in baseball. Phillies fans aren't really feeling that way. In my mentions, there's been a lot of, hey, man, we haven't been beating the good teams, all that stuff. You guys are okay. Just relax. But Twins getting it done with, out a lot of the guys. Royce Lewis is back. Miranda's, I think, also going to be activated tomorrow. Didn't have either of those guys. And Cora is gone. And Buxton had to come out of the game. Thank God he's okay. So grindy series win against the Phillies. That's what I'll give you. They still need to make a move. Festa looked good.
Okay, that was your Twins update. Houston, again, you guys are probably looking for us to talk to you in another time. Rays, Toronto, both teams. Let's see what your break looks like. And Seattle.
Rays, 1 game over 500.
Seattle, bro. Let's do our standout performances. We're brought to you by Booking.com, like we talked about. Trev, I'm going to cut you off at the pass because screw it. Frankie Lindor. We do a lot of these, jam baseball videos with Jolly Olive, big Mets fan who was here last time. And sometimes we'll do like NL East RBI from each position or different games like that. Go check them out if you're a baseball person. They're baseball crack. Sometimes Frankie Lindor gets missed And I think it's just because he's teetered the line between, like, the glove has always been such a lock, but the offensive numbers have been, quote unquote, good for a shortstop, which sometimes we hold on a different level because it is one of the tougher positions to play defensively. Frankie Lindor, I think the stat that popped up after his 2-homer, 5 RBI game on ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball with Trev's Carl Ravitch, I think the only 50-50 player, 50 homers, 50 steals over the last season and a half now, is Francisco Lindor, the shortstop of the Mets. He almost gets hurt by being so set it and forget it. Like, no questions asked. Switch hitting shortstop? He can field, he can run, he can hit. Like, no questions asked. And now people are throwing him in the MVP race with Shohei and Bryce because of where the Mets are at. So shout out to Mr. Smile, a guy that, man, baseball should promote more. What's going on over there? You keep turning around like you're seeing a ghost.
My doorbell just rang. I didn't know I had a doorbell. What's going on here? I love that you're talking about Frankie Lindor. MVP race, though, Pop. Who's talking about that?
Dude, they were talking about on the broad. I think he's third in the NL in WAR, and the Mets are the best team in baseball.
I did not know he was third in the NL in WAR. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The glove be working.
Yeah.
He did go a 2-homer game for me in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? You saw that, right?
Yeah. Sure did.
Second deck Lindor. That's what they're calling him. He's a stud, man. I love that. And I'm glad I brought that to my attention that he's third in the NL WAR, because I need to give that guy more respect. He's kind of become like the Jose Ramirez a little bit, where like he's kind of an underrated player, dude. You do everything that you need him to do. And I think a lot of people were down on him earlier in this year. But was he like, he was struggling offensively at the beginning of the year a little bit?
He started slower.
Slow 3 weeks.
But the glove, and the base running is always going to hold him up in the value. So, okay. I'm glad you gave him some respect.
Here's a fun one. He finished 9th in the MVP the past 2 seasons.
I like that.
It's not a bad player to have on the squad.
No, it's not a bad player to have at all. He's a stud.
Yeah, he's in almost like Jason Tatum purgatory, where he's never going to be considered the best player in the league, but he's just really damn good, and that's okay. Wow, sports. Trev, who's your standout performer?
Just let me know if somebody comes behind me and just is ready to like whack me.
I mean, we're trying to get viral. Reese McGuire?
We gotta stop with that. I can't do it anymore. Okay,
that's not.
I'm going with another guy who's like kind of like flying under the radar. You asked, is Corey Seager been doing it all year long? He has been doing it all year long. 4 for 5 with a homer, a double, an RBI, and 3 runs scored. That was on Wednesday. This guy's numbers on the year are incredible. He's an incredible player. MVP 2 last year. Jake, he's already racked up 3.4 WAR, 19 homers on the year, 49 runs driven in. He's been the consistent player on the World Series champion Texas Rangers. He's helped them stay afloat. He'll be the guy that gets them to the playoffs. Like, he is that type of player. I don't know where I ended off. I wanted to give love to Corey Seager. That's all.
That's fine. I would say, before Ranger fans comment, Josh Smith did a lot of yeoman's work this year, but I think if the Texas Rangers want to get to where they want to get to, Corey Seager, they need him to go. And OPS at the start of the month was 795. He's up to 838. That if a couple more big games, his numbers are around his career averages, but last year was so good that people are going to be expecting more. And again, I don't think any of us doubt he has more in it. Like,
no, I think he's going to be the reason they get to the playoffs. He has 10 intentional walks. It kind of scare me a little bit right there. He's leading the league in intentional walks, but when he gets hot like no other. So, shout out Corey Seager.
Trev, incredible standouts. There were so many guys. I see Higashioka, Spencer Steer, Stallings, and Doyle in Colorado. There's a ton of pitchers. I gave Cooper Criswell his flowers. Bryce Miller in an L. But, Trev, you know the one place people want to end up.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
We're going to start with the series, as we always do, because it's a Thursday. Arizona second baseman Ketel Marte. Are you familiar with his game, Jake? I think you are. He went 6 for 12, 3 home runs, 7 runs driven in for the 1.8 OPS against Kansas City as they took the series from the Royals. And then Elly De La Cruz has just been going off, doing everything. I think you said he got to 49 stolen bases. I'm pretty sure he got to 50 stolen bases in this series. He went 5 for 9 with a homer, a triple, an RBI, 5 runs driven in, 3 stolen bases in the 2-game series against Atlanta. He is, we were talking about it on Baseball Today. It's Shohei Ohtani, Paul Skeens, maybe the 2 biggest draws in baseball. I think Elly De La Cruz is probably up there with Aaron Judge for 3rd biggest draw in all of baseball right now. The people love them. Some Elly. For the week, Kansas City shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. This guy, I mean, for the year, he's just the man. 16 for 23 this week, 2 home runs, 7 runs driven in for the 1.9 OPS. He became the first player ever to have 4 consecutive games with 3 hits following the All-Star break. And that's, you finished a single shot of the cycle on Monday because he got beamed. This guy we're going to skip because I'll talk about him in a little bit. We'll go back to the 2-week section. And I kind of mentioned this guy here, Ezequiel Tovar, Colorado shortstop, 22 for 51 over the last 2 weeks for a 431 batting average, 5 homers, 12 runs driven in for an 824 slug for the 1.2 OPS. He's got an 11-game hidden streak going. You just talked about Francisco Lindor. In the last 2 weeks, 13 for 35, 371, 5 home runs, 12 runs driven in, 7 runs scored, and 11 walks also in that span. He has a 1.3 OPS since July 12th. And then obviously we have to mention Dylan Cease. 22 innings pitched over his last 3 games. 2 hits only. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
0 earned runs, 4 walks, 30 Ks with the no-hitter against. So he was just absolutely balling as well. Oh my goodness. No-hitter against the Nationals today. So congratulations. That was a fun celebration for them right there. Now for the Corona Extra Playa of the Week. I'm giving it to our guy Tyler Fitzgerald out there in San Francisco. He's getting more and more playing time as the Giants are kind of letting the young guys play a little bit. He went 9 for 17 during the week, and he hit homers in 5 consecutive games, Jake. 5 home runs, 7 runs driven in, 8 runs scored, 6 walks. The 1.5 slug for the 2.1 OPS during the week. You got to give love to someone when they go on a homer streak like that. He was doing a little bit extra, so I give him our Corona Extra Player of the Week.
Trev, incredible stuff.
That's who's Fuego.
Incredible stuff. Yeah, the C stuff, any way you dice that, is pretty nuts. Zeke Tovar. Hey, Rocks. I love you. Let's trade Ryan McMahon at peak value. I know that feels weird, but Zeke Tovar, Michael Toglia, Brenton Doyle, we've got some pieces that are forming that it would be great to supplement them with more young pieces. I don't know.
Keep Ryan McMahon there.
Yeah,
he's locked up.
That'll take down the Dodgers next year. I've been taking down some momentous supplements, protein, omega-3. I haven't done the creatine yet, but it might be time. It might be time to do it. Because Momentous is the trusted supplement provider for all but 2 Major League Baseball teams. If the pros are using it, you should be using it, people. Man, their creatine is sourced from CreaPure, the purest form of creatine. Okay, like that.
Okay.
Naturally produced amino acid commonly found in foods such as red meat and fish. So you're already putting this in your body. Let's get the pure stuff. It's bulking. It's not. Well, it is It's always bulking season for me. There's a reason why the world's best are using this. Momentous products. And if you want to take what the champions take, go to livemomentous.com. Use code TALKIN. Get 20% off your first order. Livemomentous.com with code TALKIN. Go check them out. Man, this IL is a bit of a situation because I hate the first part. Placed on the IL, Ozzy Albies. We've talked about his wrist injury. Julio Rodriguez into the wall. J.P. Crawford on the same day. Christian Yelich, a weird back thing that you have to be worried about. Christian Scott, the Mets young stud. He goes on the IL. But I have good news. Like we've talked about, Clayton Kershaw, Tyler Glasnow, Robbie Ray, Dane Dunning pitching with both hands. Luis Rengifo, where will he be in a week? Chris Bryant for that Rockies core. Jordan Montgomery, Adam Simber throwing from the ground. Maybe he gets traded. I don't know. And it looks like Royce Lewis is coming back and Kodai Senga. It's that time of year. Exciting. Exciting for those Twins. Trev, you've got a big weekend. You're going to be in Detroit with the Twins. I've got a big weekend. Red Sox, Yankees. Let's officially start everyone's weekend a little early.
Awards!
Why don't you go?
Did I see Royce Lewis in the lobby? I did.
Okay. Nice. That's sick.
He looks great, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Plouffe.
You should be scared. Royce Lewis is going to haunt the Yankees for many years to come, okay? All right, I'm going to give an award. I'm going to call it the Boys to Men Award. I think there comes a time in every young boy's life where he faces a challenge, and that challenge can propel him into becoming a young man, if you will. I took a class called Becoming a Man in high school, and there's a lot of different religions and there's a lot of different cultures that actually have rituals where you like become a man. I'm sure you've heard quite a few of them. I think in modern days, it's more of like a situation you find yourself in that can come, I don't know, maybe it's in 8th grade for some people. Maybe you're a junior in high school for some people. I'm going to give mine, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I was at a high school party. I was a sophomore in high school. Okay. Like, I was on the varsity baseball team. I was like a popular kid.
Yeah.
But still, I was a kid.
Your big brother laid the path pretty well.
I had a big brother that was at the school right before me. But again, I had, the backing of some seniors that were in my corner, all that stuff that matters in high school. I went to a party, and it was a house party in the backyard in California. And all of a sudden I got challenged to a fight. Wasn't wanting to fight. Thought the kid that challenged me to a fight was my friend. Apparently that I was wrong about that. Wow. So all of a sudden I find my circle of people at this party just around us. And I was like, is this really happening? Right. What is going on? The kid swings at me left-handed. So kind of catches me off guard, hits me right here.
Oh,
in the top of the head.
Gotcha.
So I said, okay, I guess we're fighting. Now, again, I had an older brother. So I, scrapped a little bit, never been in a fight before. I ended up fighting this guy and busting his lip. I remember the blood coming out of it. I threw him down to the ground. And I think he had a little bit too much to drink. So I had the advantage there. But it was a big moment for me, Jake. Afterwards, one of my crushes in high school, brought me inside, gave me a bag of frozen peas, put it on my knuckles that were red from the guy's face. And after that, I kind of felt like a man. Hey, I got in my first fight. I won my first fight. Everyone was there to see it. I didn't even I wasn't the aggressor. I just stood my ground, if you will. And so I did. I gained confidence from that night. There's a guy in the big leagues who has gained a ton of confidence in the month of July, and he goes by the name of Lawrence Butler. If we go back to June 30th, Jake, he had a batting average of 179. He had an on slugging percentage of 269. He had an OPS of 529. Okay, this is a guy who has all the physical tools in the world, looks good in a uniform, but just really hasn't gotten the job done at the big league level. And point. Can you hear me?
It's getting choppy.
Have you lost me like totally?
Just the last sentence.
Last sentence.
Okay. At some point, you have to produce in the big leagues. The big leagues comes and punches you in the mouth or in the back of the head, like in my case, and you have to figure it out. You have to do something. Well, at the beginning of July, he went and did something. A's hitting coach said, you know what? Speaking of your head, you're moving it too much. You need to find a way to keep your head still so you can see the baseball. And guess what, guys? That's a big part of hitting. You got to be able to see the baseball. My good friend Joe Mauer, who just went to the Hall of Fame, go watch his swing. He never moved his head. From start to finish, his head was in the exact same spot. He was able to see the baseball very well. Sometimes you forget about stupid stuff like that. You're thinking about everything else. You're thinking about what the pitcher's throwing to you, what the game plan is going to be, but you can't see the baseball. So how are you going to hit it? Lawrence Butler made the adjustment, Jake. And in July, he's been nuts. His numbers now stand at 254, 327, 482 for an 810 OPS. In the month, Jake, he's hit 413 with a 471 OBP. He slugged 937 for a 1.4, 8 hours, 24 runs driven in. He actually has 15 extra base hits this month. So the big leagues went and punched him in the back of the head, and he stood his ground, found a way, and now he's winning the fight. He's a boy becoming a man in the big leagues. And I know we don't talk about the A's a lot, but I wanted to give him a shout out because I believe he already won AL Player of the Week. I believe he's going to win AL Player of the Month. And once you do something like that, the confidence that you gain, you start to believe that, hey, I'm an actual big leaguer. Like, I'm not up here trying to figure it out. I'm not pretending. Like, I am a big leaguer. This is the level that I deserve and I should be playing at. Once that happens, dude, you can take off. So I'm hoping that happens for Lawrence Butler. I met him last year in Colorado. We hung out with him for a little bit, and it's been really, really good to see him turn from a boy into a man.
One of the best players in baseball the last week or so. And there was a little bit of a bummer news. Mason Miller breaks his hand on the trainer's table. Can't do that.
Left hand,
but still. But yeah, Lawrence Butler has been balling out. Andujar Rooker. Butler's, if you're talking Oakland future, he's a piece that they look at as that way. Shout out to our guy Ollie, as always.
Yes.
As always. Trev, I'm gonna give out the eye roll award. I've renamed this award 10 times. I'm going to ask the people to properly name this award because I have all the pieces of data. I just can't nail it.
Okay.
Max Scherzer today, or not today, but he passed on the career strikeout list. He jumped to top 10 all time. Wow.
Is that real?
Top 10 all time. On the career strikeout list. I mean, that's impressive stuff. That's Inner Circle Hall of Fame, modern baseball, all of it. Who did he pass? Current division rival Justin Verlander. The two old dogs of the baseball circuit. Both of these guys have made upwards of $400 million. Both of these are Inner Circle Hall of Fame type pitchers. Both of these are guys that young kids are going to ask us, what were Scherzer and Verlander? Who is better? I don't have my answers prepared. It's one of those things I probably should look into further to see where I truly stand. I don't know. Prime Verlander was more of a surgeon where Max just felt like an absolute sicko that could mix in a little more on you. I don't know. I don't know. But for these two old dogs who are now pitching on the two AL West favorites, and they're competing on the strikeout list that I don't know how long these two are going to pitch. I think Verlander's got a vesting option for next year he's not going to get to. If these guys want a Nolan Ryan or Roger Clemens and keep twirling the pill as long as they want, they will be allowed to. I landed on the eye roll award because for me it was, we talk about the celebrity golf circuit a little bit. Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer are going to end up in a lot of rooms, whether it's Cooperstown every year, whether it's MLB All-Star Game, whether these guys want to do media. One of them's going to have more strikeouts than the other. And that's going to be some little drunkard Jake Storielli's going to come up and be like, Scherzer had 10 more strikeouts than you over your career, man. And they're going to hear that the first couple times, and they'll say, I don't care. I've got my Cy Youngs. I've got both of these guys have everything the world basically has to offer. But there's going to be a point when one of them rolls their eyes and be like, I can't believe he fucking clipped me.
That's, it's a great bet right now. Who's going to end up with more?
I don't know where
he kicks Verlander out of the top 10, puts him at 11, says, see you, buddy. I'm now the guy. If you would ask me where do Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander land in the all-time strikeout list, I would have said maybe I would have said 20th or something like that. And that would have been a stretch for me to say that, but I did not know these guys were already in the top 10, approaching the top 10. Holy shnikey. It's awesome. I don't know what the eye roll award, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
it was really dumb.
You said something about trains earlier that you were going to do that.
It was it's the thought that these guys are going to be lumped together forever because they're two aces from the same generation, special level of aces. And that, again, there's so much mutual respect. Neither of them actually care. But there is going to be a moment that future Tim Kirkagen, a.k.a. myself, is like, oh, man, can you believe Verlander got you by 3 Ks? And they're going to say, I don't give a fuck, dude. Yeah. Leave me alone. So we did it all this episode. We did. I decided I've made them my full-blown gods, and I'm in on being next. In a way, I want to apologize because there was a lot of, touching yourself talk. There was a lot of...
There was some player hating.
Internet issues.
There was player hating. There was internet issues. It's everything that makes talking baseball beautiful. And the final thing that does make talking baseball beautiful is the DraftKings Sportsbook. Been getting back in the action more recently. Maybe we'll see if they can add that JV versus Mad Max bet. We could get some lines on anything. DraftKings already has lines on a lot. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code Talkin. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Talkin. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. I hope it's a big weekend. I hope the trade market gets started. We've got Monday. We're going to be live for the deadline. We're going to be at ballparks this weekend. I hope you guys are at ballparks. If you're at one that we're at, come say hi to us. Trev, anything to send the people off with? Perfect. Yeah.
Love this hotel. Don't love the Wi-Fi.
This is my JV pitching coach outfit today.
You need a sunglass tan.
Seam shifted wake. That's what we need.
They don't say that.